Okay, so without much further ado, let's get started. So today's topic is on logo creation and introduction to Adobe Photoshop. So I always like to start with a quick trivia. So did you know that Coca-Cola originally the name was coined from cocaine leaves and cola fruits, which is being used to make the drink, the carbonated drink Coca-Cola, cocaine leaves and cola fruits. So the two C's you see in Coca-Cola being the CCs, the designers, you have Mr. Pemberton and Robinson, they came up with the design Coca-Cola using um, using a wordmark kind of design because you have, I will introduce you to the various kind of designs you have. Coca-Cola is a kind of wordmark design. So they decided that using CC will be better than using CK as it will fit better with the design. So that's how they came with the word Coca-Cola instead of the C and the K for the cola. So do we have when you ask yourself what is a logo? Ask yourself what is this logo? You can see a logo is a graphical symbol that identifies a company symbol, the symbol of that company or the values of that company. So I hope you guys are following. So let's get into okay. So it represents the symbols and the value in which a company has. A logo helps to convey the information of what the company stands for as simple as possible. You can see now from this Coca-Cola logo which I have here, the it helps you to simply understand that this is combination of Coke and cola and all that. So you know that this is a drink or like a carbonated drink with the caffeine and everything present in it. So we're going to we can also say that since a logo helps to convey your information to identify that company or that brand symbol, you can also refer this to yourself. You can say that your signature is your own logo because your signature is peculiar to that particular person. So just think of your logo like that, your logo being a signature. So a logo is peculiar to that particular company or brand, as it tells a lot about that company and brand. So we have various kind of logos, and the first one we're going to be looking at is your symbol or icon logo. Take for instance now, what you can see that's a logo of Nike. Yes, that's Nike logo. And this is an example of a symbol logo, just a simple symbol and icon that signify that this is that brand logo. The next one we have is the word mark. The word mark is a kind of logo that majorly consists of the company's name. It's the word mark logo is quite difficult as it has to be unique. It has to be special, different from any other thing that's out there. That's why you see they mainly use the typeface or the fonts that tells a story or a history about that company. It has to represent the values of that company. You don't just use any kind of font for it. An example is your Google symbol, which you have here for your Google icon, Disney, and the Coca-Cola as you saw earlier. Then we have the letter mark or the monogram. The letter mark or the monogram is kind of similar to the word mark, but you use this mainly for companies that have long names or names that are very, very much difficult to pronounce. An example of this company is you have your HP, which we have here. So I'm going to let's do a quick trivia and a quick question. I'm going to ask you, or you can see the screen, yeah? So you have to pick for me what do you think HP stands for? So let's just do that quickly. What is the full meaning of HP? Just speak from the options. Is it A, Herbert Phillips, or Hungry Putnock, or Hewlett Packard, or Hypertext Protocol? Okay, they are correct. So Hewlett Packard. So you see, it's something that it's not really so many persons cannot pronounce these, or they find the name kind of strange. So hence we tend to use letter marks or monogram kind of symbols in such situation. So the next one we have is the combination mark. The combination mark deals with mainly combining your letter mark with icons to form one particular symbol. As you can see, an example here is the Unilever symbol here. If you see just the icon of the Unilever symbol anywhere, you will know that that is Unilever. Hence, it has a dual function. That is, you can either use the word mark on that combination mark kind of logo, or you use the the symbol or the icon. Either one of these, you can always identify the company or the brand. So lastly, we have an emblem. An emblem contains lots and lots of details. It's a kind of logo type that has so much detail, because the basic thing about logo when you're designing a logo, first thing you consider is simplicity. Something that should be very, very simple. It shouldn't be complex as much as shouldn't be complex, sorry, as much as other kind of branding. So, but the emblem goes against this rule of complexity, because an emblem has so much details when it comes to design. An example here which you see is the Bentley Continental GT logo, the Bentley logo. You see, it mainly has it may be a letter or a symbol, an icon that signifies um the vision, or it helps to represent that company's symbol of value within the emblem. You see the B there for the Bentley, and the details are mainly built around that particular symbol. You see these in our university logos, these football clubs. Yeah, you see, they have one particular symbol that represents that particular brand with lots of details built around that symbol. I hope you guys are following and you're understanding. Okay, let's continue. So, I'm going to show you some common kind of symbols, common logo types which are out there. Example now, you have the Audi. Now, this is an Audi simple logo symbol, which you see here. So, with having a simple logo symbol and icon like this, you can now graphically enhance that symbol. As you can see, you have your Audi here as just a simple plain background of rings that goes through. And now you have a graphical skill to improve that particular symbol. So these can be done when you're creating a symbol and icon type of logo. So now we're just going to do a quick run through, and so that we can familiarize ourselves with some simple kind of icon symbol you have out there. This is the simple Batman. This is the Batman of icon. Then you have Instagram. This is the Instagram icon. You can see it's just a simple kind of icon that signifies that company, that represents the brand of that company. When you look at this, it's just like a camera. So Instagram deals with lots of pictures and all this. There are lots of stories behind this particular um, icon here. So next up we have Shell. Shell, which is the oil company, this is a simple like the representation of their symbol, their logo. They have a symbol type of logo. Then you have Mitsubishi having its symbol kind of logo too. Then we have Pepsi. And now we have different kind of word marks. As I told you earlier, Coca-Cola is a kind of word mark. So now you have this that simply represents the company here. And remember, the typeface has to be special. It has to be unique. It don't have it shouldn't be something that you find easily out there. It has to tell the story and the history of that particular organization or the company or your brand that you are designing for. Then you have FedEx. It's a kind of word mark kind of logo. You have Canon, which is for your cameras. So these you see each of them have their own peculiar kind of fonts. You have Kellogg's for your cornflakes, so the Kellogg's, yeah. Then you have Visa for your card and your airlines and all. See that their fonts are special, they are peculiar, they are unique to that company. Then now we have our letter mark here, and for our letter mark, I said there are companies that maybe you have their names that are so long or they are not so easy to pronounce. You have Electronic Arts here for some of us that play football, that play games. You have lots of games there. So the EA Electronic Arts, a kind of letter mark logo type. Then you have your IBM. IBM here is a kind of letter mark logo type. Quick question: Can do you guys know the meaning of IBM? Please, if you know the meaning of IBM, can you just quickly IBM? Anybody? Okay. Let's proceed. IBM stands for International Business Machine. So now you see, writing that name, International Business Machine, now in it's gonna be such a long word. Like, how can you represent? How can you draw or probably create a logo that is based on International Business Machine as the company brand's name? So that's the reason why they make use of letter marks to help reduce and help make this information about the company easy to convey to the target markets there. Then you have your Coco Chanel. See the name again, not easily known, not easily pronounced. So you have used these to help to simplify that issue. Then you have your Procter and Gamble. These are company based in the US. So it's these companies make use of lettermark to lettermark kind of logo to help to represent their brand and represent the company. Then the combination mark here, as we had our Unilever earlier, combination of symbols and combination of symbols and word marks. Okay, so you have a famous example, Burger King. You have your Burger King logo, which is a famous burger logo in the States. Then you have your Amazon. So now, when you look at the Amazon now, you see there's this kind of arrow underneath of this part here. So to you, this represent two things: a smile, because I'm just trying to explain how these logos are created now. They always have a meaning behind them. It represents a smile, like it's a happy experience when shopping with them. Or when you look at this, there is the arrow moves from A to Z, meaning it represents that they have everything in their catalog you are looking for from A to Z. You will find it in Amazon. So these are ways they use combination mark for logo design. Oh, thank you, Mr. Araki, International Business Machine. Yeah. So then our very own logo, Studihub Digital Academy, is an example of a combination mark. So remember I told you go the combination mark, wherever you find just the symbol, you are or the letter mark, you are able to identify what company and what brand is there. Okay, so let's proceed. Then an example for emblem here. you have the Porsche, the powerhouse, the horsepower. It signifies strength and speed and all that. So these, you see, it's the main thing about the company, and built around that horse, you have lots of details to represent that emblem. So that's an example of how the emblem kind of logo works. Then you have your Warner Bros. Pictures. For some of us that watch movies, you must have seen this before. So this is an example of an emblem kind of logo for the Warner Bros. Company. And our football, Manchester United fans, So you have your football. Um, most of all this your football emblem, your badge and all that. These are examples of an emblem logo type. So now we're gonna do some. So I hope you guys understood all we just took now. We're gonna do some little exercise. So I want you to take a pen or paper or anything if you're around there, because I want us to visualize something together. Because for you to really understand the next step of this, we have to visualize things together. So now I want you to create a rough logo concept, because we're going to um, let's talk about creating a coffee shop. Yeah, we want to create a coffee shop logo. Like, let's say you have this friend who's named Fred. Yeah, let's say our friend's name is Fred, and he wants to start up a coffee shop in Lagos or here in Nigeria, anywhere. And he wants you as a graphic designer to design his logo for him. So now I want you to do let's just quickly create a rough logo concept. I want you to write down the words that resemble a coffee shop, and probably identify any icons or any possible colors that will go with that your design. Let's just quickly do this and see how it goes. Just write it or just visualize. It's not compulsory, it's fine. Just write something and let's see what you come out with. Coffee shop where they sell coffee, tea, and all that, and you want to start that kind of business, just visualize it. So now, after you visualize that thing, now I'm sure you visualized having a cup of coffee. Yeah, like maybe having a cup, you drew down a cup. There should be a cup, maybe with probably steam coming out from that cup, or probably coffee beans scattered around, Then the colors you picked for it based on this coffee is probably you might have picked brown or maybe cream color, because coffee cream, black or white. Because I don't know if I'm wrong. Let's make this class a bit interactive. It's all right. Are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, well, did I get anything you visualized about the coffee shop?
Um, I drew something down here.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I see it.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it. Okay. All right. So let's proceed. That was good. Thank you for participating. So now, probably something like this. You have your coffee and the steam and all of that. So if you select the colors brown, cream to create this is not bad. Like it's really not bad. It's it's a simple logo which you can create or design. But the funny thing is that I want you to maybe or after this class on your spare time you can Google coffee shop logo online and see something. Because having this cup bean or something like this, it's not unique. Because everybody that wants to start up something like this, what should they think about? Sorry, pardon. person will actually think about having a cup or a steam or something. So using the same colors of brown coffee because I want it to be relating to coffee. So it's not really your logo should not really be based on what you want it to relate to. But remember, you have to go and check for the company's history, like make some research. So all of these we're going to talk about this so that you will understand better how each of these things works. So now you have I don't know if you guys have seen this logo somewhere before. Starbucks, a very popular coffee shop abroad. Starbucks coffee. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. Has any of you seen this logo before?
No, sir.
Okay. On your first instance, when you see this, you won't actually think, oh, this is a coffee shop because it's having a mermaid, like a kind of mermaid and a crown and all that. It doesn't relate to a coffee shop. But I'm going to tell you a brief history about this logo so that you see how it's not really about what they do or what they sell because there has to be a history about your logo design, something that represents, something that keeps that brand together to itself. So that's why they say great design concept don't just happen. Yeah, because nothing relates this mermaid now to coffee. So this Starbucks logo in 1971, that was when the company started. You can see their first logo here over the generation from 1971 to 2011. You can see how the logo, um, how it was modified over the years. So when they started this company, I think around Michigan. So this coffee shop was located close to the sea, and the owners of this coffee shop, where they stay, they are surrounded by the sea around there. So the mermaid you see in that logo now, this mermaid here in this logo, it's a siren. Yeah, that's a siren. You must have heard of a siren. This siren, the um, mystical concept about sirens singing, having beautiful voice, and they entice people to the river. Yeah, so that's a siren, and the siren being an epitome of enticing, of bringing things, beauty and all that. So they actually thought of having an enticing coffee. Yeah, like the siren entices and the populace to entice them to their coffee. So yeah, it's around Seattle. Yeah, that's correct. Seattle coast. So now, when you see how this was designed, they had a history of creating the siren to entice people. Yeah, like enticing because of what the nature of the siren, and the siren lives in the water, and they stay in Seattle, surrounded by the sea. So hence, that was how this coffee logo was born. So you see, it's not really about I want to make this because I'm selling clothes, my logo should be clothes. Or because I'm selling shoes, I should design my logo with shoes. I've seen so many things like that. So now, let's say somebody say, I want to start selling cars now. And you design your logo with cars. Okay, if you look at Mercedes-Benz logo or look at the BMW, like the Porsche logo you saw, the Porsche emblem you saw earlier, why didn't they draw car inside? You see, in the Porsche logo, there was a horse, yeah? And that horse signifies strength, speed, and all of that. So you see, it has to tell a story based on whatever you are designing for them. Because I see so many logos and you see so many people making these mistakes. They will design and they'll just draw the shoe, say, yes, it's a maker's shoe shop. Pardon me for using that word. They'll say it's a maker's shoe shop. Now, what does that shoe represent? Because on a professional scale, you can design such a thing for a professional brand or a professional company and tell me I want to just draw shoe there. I'll tell you it's shoe. Shoe is shoe. But now what is the story behind that shoe? Your logo always have to it should have a story that births that logo. But I don't know if you guys understand. If you understand, please just signify. I hope you guys are following. Okay. So those are the little things you have to know about logo creation for you to be a graphic designer who designs logo and other. Graphic design It's like an art. You have to understand. It's not just about saying, "Oh, I'm a graphic designer and I can do this." It has to be more than that. All right. So let's proceed. So I'm going to tell you something about the design cycle. This is going to help you when you are creating your logo for your brand or any organization or any company. So you have 5 steps. The first step you have here is the briefing. After briefing, you have your research and brainstorming stage in your design cycle, your thumbnail stage, your production stage, and your presentation stage. You see now, there are 5 different stages you have to do when you want to create a logo. That's why sometimes you just see, oh, BBC having just letter B, B, and C. You think, oh, it's just let me just write B, B, and C now. Okay, that's an example of that BBC now is an example of the word mark kind of logo. You have that and you're like, oh, it's just BBC. Why don't I just write it? What what is this? If you, I don't know if I might be wrong, but you can check on it. BBC logo, they spent about $3 million as a when that logo for the designer. The BBC paid that designer $3 million when that logo was created. It's not mainly about um, the guy was able to write B, B, and C because anybody can come up with such idea and give that typeface and all that. But BBC actually paid for the idea behind that logo that was created. It's just a simple BBC now. Anybody can write that. But what idea? What's the story behind that logo? You can go and check. You see that BBC have changed their logo over the years. But this last one they had really represented the story of the company and how it started and where it came from and all that. So if you look at Louis Vuitton, you see for Louis Vuitton now, the font type they used in that logo creation, it tallies to the year the company was started. Like when you read about it, you see that there are lots of history behind each and every one of these. So now let's quickly go back to our design cycle. So I'm going to take each and every one of these one after the other so that you see how each step go. So for your briefing, which is your first type when you want to design your logo, the first thing I always tell anybody, any graphic designer I know, professional, we understand. The professional graphic designers even make this mistake sometimes, but you should understand it better. But to be a graphic designer, do not, if you want to design a logo for a client or a company or an organization or anybody, do not design first before consulting your client. Let me just say, a friend told you now, uh, I want to start selling clothes. Yeah, and I need a logo for this clothes business. Then you just go ahead and make quickly something before the person will explaining to you what and what and what. First, the person have to tell you what colors they want, what they need, the pattern of design. Like I don't know, like they give you information that will help you build your design based on those information which your client or the company or the individual gives you. So to not design before consulting your client, as this will waste lots of your time and money. You can just imagine you spend you as graphic designer we use data as a lot. So now you are designing and you've done something like that, and you have to go back to to start doing that. So you are wasting your time, wasting your effort, and wasting your money. So you have to consult your client first before you start designing. Also, try doing some things for free as a graphic designer, especially if you're an upcoming designer. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should just be doing things for free. Somebody just asked me to do it for free. When I say doing it for free is that when I say you should do it for free is that you should just make some you should make some sorry you should design for some like design these for free, not completely free, but at a very subsidized rate. Okay, you can try designing for your family members, your sisters or anybody. You can just make those designs to make for you to build yourself in the aspects of your graphic work. You can start making these designs for them. But the thing is that even when it comes to family, you should try and instead of completely doing it for free at some certain stage, try and give them a price, but tell them with a discounted rate. Give them discount, because if you keep on doing things for free, they won't be able to see your worth as a graphic designer. So do for free, but not completely free. Not that you're just starting, you have to go and place your bets on the big amounts of money and all. So I will show you later how you are able to understand and get prizes for what should determine your prices and all this for your designs or for your logo creation or your graphic design in general. Okay, I have just one quick point I have to tell you. When I talked about concepts, yeah, about your client consulting you, your client should expect you, yeah. Your client, yeah, should not expect you to come up with a design for them. Yeah. The idea of you being a graphic designer is you have a client. They shouldn't expect you to come up with an idea for them, like, oh, I want to do this, please. Can you just come up with something for me? Except they are paying you for coming, they are paying you enough to come for you to come up with an idea for your client. Because you have to think and you have to go through some certain process to think about that. Because your client's supposed to give you the idea based on what you want to design before you start your designing. So except the client pays you for it, that's when you can come up with that idea for your client. So now let's move forward. So in the briefing, you have 7 stage for your briefing of your for in the design cycle here. And the first stage you're going to look at is your company background and objective. When you're briefing, you have to know the company background and objective of that organization or client or anything that you're doing, or any person you are designing for. You have to know the needs of that organization, the ideas and inspiration, competition, the target market, delivery time, and also your budget. This helps you in generally briefing your client about your logo creation and design. I hope you guys are following. Okay. So we're going to look at the first one, which is company's background and objective. So you have to obtain, as I said earlier, obtain all the information and all the details from the company or your client or the organization you are designing for. And this will help you to build your profile to design for that your organization and understand the company's values and objectives with those details that were given to you. This will aid you a lot in this in coming up with a design or in designing your client's logo. Then next we look at the company's design needs. Now, what kind of designs does this company require? What type of design do they want? You look at what kind of designs do they want. Is it um is it about like is it a symbol, or is it an album, or is it a word mark? Is it a letter mark or a monogram? What kind of design do they want? This is essential. These are the things you must consider when you're during your briefing of your client. Your ideas and inspiration. The company might provide you with ideas, as I said earlier. The company should provide you with ideas. They should give you those ideas. If they don't provide you with those ideas, they should pay you for coming up with these ideas. And paying you for coming up with those ideas gives you more creative freedom. Hence, a company that wants you to come up with an idea, trust your judgment about designing. Because most times when you're a professional graphic designer, you find out that most companies will just tell you, it surprised me, give me something. Give me something. I want something from you. You are good at what you do, so they want something from you. They don't technically give you ideas. Pardon. So these are very, very essential. So having your own idea gives you this creative freedom, but be careful. Do not overcreate. Pardon. As it's going to, you have to understand based on the objectives and everything you created from that, the details you collected from your client. Make sure you are designing within that range so as to explain your company's the company you are designing for, the aim and objective better. Okay, so let's proceed. So then we have the competition. Do not create similar designs. Like I've seen this a lot. You have this a lot when it comes to people that that sells wig or something. Like I'm just giving an example. I've seen this in lots of people that sell wig. You see, oh, this person designed something like this. I have this hair and all that. You will see another graphic designer which you give your own business to design will create something like that using similar kind of design. Is so much in the fashion industry. You see them using similar kind of design. This is not professional as a graphic designer. To know use similar design as a competitor because you need your design to stand out. Just imagine I go ahead now and I find this design here. I see, oh, it's similar to what they have there. I can confuse this design. Have you ever seen any other design like Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola design is unique. You won't see anything like Unilever. You won't see anything like that. It's unique. But just imagine you have something close to that now. There'll be this conflicting thing. Your company won't be able to stand out. Your design, your logo for that company won't be able to stand out to represent it. So you have to consider that not to create similar designs to that of your competitors or the client's competitors. Now, I'm sorry, the target market. You have to understand who is your client target market. This is very essential in creating designs for your logo. Now, is it the old? Is it the young? Is it the very young or the youths or the very old? So you have to understand what the target market is for that for your client that you're designing for. Will you design based on considering all these factors when you are designing? So now the delivery time and date of your logo, you have to know that because you have to tell your client, I'm going to give you this, we're going to deliver this at this time, or we're going to have this to you now and all that. It depends on your client's feedback because sometimes you ask your client, what's the due date you need this? Sometimes they tell you, I want you to design this for me in 1 week, in 2 days, in 3 days. But believe me, designing, yeah, designing, no matter how small you want to design, actual designing takes about 1 to 3 days to design. Just a simple flyer or anything can cost you about 1 to 3 days to design if you really want to come up with that concept of designing. So do not give a very short time or saying, don't worry, I can do it for you in 2 days. Add maybe the client said, I need it in 1 week. Always add additional time to that 1 week. I don't know if you understand. So you are able to deliver. But it's very good if you can deliver before your due date because this is it makes your client happy and it makes them happy, like doing business with you and all that. So always add to your delivery date or try to make your target before your. I hope you guys got that. Okay. So the next thing is that if your client needs you to design a logo very like in a hurry for like this rush, I want this logo done in 2 days or in 1 day. I told you 1 to 3 days. Give them. Don't tell them I can do it for you in 1 hour. If not, trust me, you won't come up with an exceptional work. Except the client is which ones. It's not wanting an exceptional work. Because why I say 1 to 3 days, don't forget you'll be doing all the designs. You won't just focus your 1 to 3 days on just that particular logo. So you need time to actually come up with ideas. Except the client wants it in a hurry, charge an extra fee. Let that fee, like charge an extra fee for the fast track. Yeah, that's the word. I want this fast track. Yeah. So you have to pay for fast track. But I hope you guys understand what I meant with that. Oh, okay, I have a network network issues. Okay, so you have to pay for fast track. So the last thing we'll consider here is your budget. Every designer should have a basic price list. Don't just feel, oh, I create flyers, I create logo, this branding and all that. Again, now, how much do I charge? You because the person is, you're just meeting first for the first time, tell the person, oh, I'm charging 20,000. Person will be like, okay. Then the next day you meet another client, and you be like, oh, okay, I'm going to take 15,000. No, that's wrong. You should have a basic price list. If you are creating logos for 10,000 naira, create your logos for 10,000 naira. If you are creating your flyers for 20,000 naira, create your flyers for 20,000 naira. Have that basic price list which you're there. You are only to discount your price list. Do not have various price for various things. Have a basic price list, because one way of calculating this for me is when you look at your monthly expenses on your work, your subscription, your data, maybe you subscribe to the Adobe Creative Cloud and all that. These are things you have to pay for. And each of these payments should determine your price list for your clients, if you understand. So, as I said earlier, everything takes at least 1 day or 2 to 3 to make to design. So charge accordingly to the time you're going to spend. So think about the time you're going to spend in designing. Your price should be based on that. And also, the more experience you gain, the higher your price. So having a more having a higher price, it depending on your experience. You can't say because you're a beginner in graphic designing and you want to design logo, you're gonna be charging 10,000 naira. That's that is not so, because your designs, you need to gather your clients. You need to have so many you need to have your market first, so that you can grow with that market and become better with time. So at least you can charge maybe 2,000 naira, 3,000 naira for your logo when you are just coming up, and this will help you to build yourself well. Then over time, you can see, because there are some persons now, like I told you now, the BBC logo, which was charged $3 million for creating just one logo for BBC. So you see how each and every aspect of this designing works. So your experience matters a lot when it comes to your price list and your budget for the design. So you have to consider these factors for you to be able to create your design there. So the next one we're going to talk about is your research and brainstorming. Please, I hope you guys have followed. Mr. Oraki, please signify if you're following. Okay. So the next thing we're going to be talking about now is researching and brainstorming. Inspiration is very, very critical when you get to this stage of your research and brainstorming. Based on the information you got from the client during the briefing, it helps you, as that's your research on your logo design. Now, the part of the brainstorming part, you have to, as a designer, like, except there are two methods to this. You have your digital doodlers and your paper and biro sketchouts or doodlers. So I personally, I prefer using your paper and pen. You have to have a booklet whereby you sketch your ideas, you sketch your inspiration to, because you can't just, the one thing most people don't know is that when you open your Photoshop or your design software or anything, you say, oh, I want to start design, just open it. Trust me, you will get confused. Like, you will have how will I start designing? What will I start from? I will just draw this. I don't like it. I clean it. I'll just draw this. Try and draw out your idea first. Just do it. Sketch it, or any word you want to use. Sketch it out. Let's just use that word sketch. Sketch your ideas out. Draw and have the ideas before moving to the computer. This helps you a lot. Yeah, it helps you a lot. So having that book or your digital tablet, which you can use for drawing, having it is essential because it helps you to reduce your time which you spend on the digital creation of that particular logo. Doodling is different from thumbnails. Sketching is different from thumbnails. Your thumbnail is more of a refined, you're like a refined sketch. Yeah. Because when you sketch, you just sketch roughly. It doesn't need to be like so perfect. But when you are trying to create thumbnails, now you're trying to make that your sketch a little bit perfect, similar to the way as it will be on on your design, like how it would be. Try to create a perfect sketch as a distance. So it's you don't need to be really good in drawing, but at least you just have to create that uh, perfect outcome which you're going to have there. This will help you to foresee, like to visualize the particular logo which you want. So we'll move on to the production phase. On the production phase, it's all about the digital the digital drawing of your visualized thumbnails. So now you bring your thumbnails to or your sketch, your good sketch to the computer, and you draw based on what you have. Yeah. So this is the part of the production, just about you using your computer or your software to make that logo and bring it to life. Your presentation. In the presentation, as what we have here, you make your presentation as appealing as possible. It's not only about the concept, like having that idea of this is what I want. Yeah, this is what I like. You create that concept, you have these, yes, and all that. But now the presentation of that idea, of that concept is very, very important. And to make this possible, sometimes we use mock-ups. Using mock-ups, I don't know, you guys must have seen, just a quick question. You guys must have seen some of these logos where you have these things writing on the wall. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Please, have you guys seen that? Maybe this digital logo of you have somebody's logo on an office wall and all that. So that's an example of a mock-up. Mock-ups, you can either create them or you download them to help you to visualize the real life experience of that particular logo. So your mockup helps you helps you and helps your clients to see what the idea which you created. So that's the main work of mockup. Not necessarily your mockup should be your logo, because I see most persons using that wall thing, the mockup, and put their logo on it and all that, saying that that's their business logo. That's wrong. It helps you to visualize how your logo should be in a real life scenario. So your logo should just be simple and plain. Have you ever seen Nike's logo or something on one mock-up and they'll put it on their bag saying that that's their logo? No, it's simple and plain. So hence presentation is very, very important. You have to be prepared to go back to the research and brainstorming stage, because sometimes when you present your, don't just think, oh, I presented this is the final part. I'm done, I'm done. No, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes your clients might like that. Sometimes they might not, and they need you to make a little bit of changes to that design. So be prepared to go back to make those changes to your design, as your design is not always final. Yeah, a good design at first is not always final. There must be a little bit of modification here and there in your design. So I hope you guys understood that part, what I said, because we are moving on to a new section where I'll be using the Adobe Illustrator. I will introduce you to the Adobe Illustrator so that you understand this this is one of the basic tools you use in logo creation. You can use Photoshop, but don't forget Photoshop is a vector, is a raster based format. It pixelates because it deals with pixels. So creating logos using Photoshop, you can't use them in printing, like in large print and all that. So So Adobe Illustrator now, being a vector-based software, helps you to create logos and other parts. Because as a graphic designer, this is one thing you use a lot. This is software you use a lot to create your logo, your brochures, your business cards, your posters. You use this a lot if you want to get perfect, results. And this it actually helps because the work, your ability to work here is a bit simplified. But using Photoshop, Photoshop can do most of the work your Illustrator do also. But in terms of designing most of all these corporate things and all that, you use your Illustrator because it gives you more freedom for your design. And don't forget, they are both Adobe, and your Illustrator works hand in hand with Photoshop. Photoshop must work with Illustrator because I talked about mockup earlier. When you want to create mockup, you use your Photoshop for your mockup. You export your work from Illustrator to Photoshop and create a mockup. Maybe at the end of this class, I'm just going to show you how to quickly do something like that. Now see how it works. So with what we have here, Illustrator is for creating new documents. Interface, we're going to talk about the interface in introduction in Illustrator. We're going to quickly briefly introduce you to the workspace in Illustrator, the toolbar introduction in Illustrator. There we'll talk about the toolbar and using some of the basic, pardon, some of the basic tools in Illustrator. So this is what your Illustrator interface looks like. It's similar to that of your Photoshop, but it's mainly of this nature when designing Illustrator. So without further ado, I'm going to go straight into Illustrator in a few seconds, and we'll talk about, as I said earlier, creating a document. I'm going to show you how we can do that using Illustrator, the interface, the workspace, the toolbar, and some basic tools. And we're going to create a logo based on our earlier what we visualized earlier. Fred, yeah, Fred, our Fred, uh, our Fred coffee shop, yeah, our friend Fred, yeah, the coffee shop. So we're just going to create something based on that, and I'm going to use that to show you how it works. So if you guys are following, because I want you guys to follow me for this part of John now. Please signify if you are following, because I have to present. Okay, just give me a few minutes. Let me. Just a moment, because I want to share my Illustrator so that you guys can see the. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see the screen now? Please just quickly signify if you can see that. Okay. So now, welcome to Adobe Illustrator. So this is, okay, because I'm not connected. So this is the simple, this is how the interface of, let me quickly hide this, of your Illustrator. This is how it looks like, similar to that of your Photoshop. So you have your works and all the things you do here, which show that then you have your quick file creation and all that. You create an open file, and similar to Photoshop, just little changes here and there, and little changes of how they operate. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do now is creating a new file. So we go to File, just like in your Photoshop, New, or Control N with the shortcut Control sorry, your shortcut Control N. So new, or click on new. So you're just gonna quickly wait for that to boot up because Adobe Illustrator is a much more powerful software, and it takes a toll on your system a bit. So if you have a very fast, at least an 8 gig RAM or more, your system to do this. Okay, so now we have this dialog box here. When you want to create your new document, when you Control N or File, New, and it pops up this dialog box where you have your save, your mobile. You can design for mobile, iPhone X, Max Pro here, just like in Photoshop. Went through this. So I personally, for me, I prefer using the print and A4 size here because using your A4 size, you can resize your your um, you can resize your Canva. You can resize it to any size you want. Yeah, your artboard, sorry. You can resize your artboard before printing with your A4. Because most times you design some things that are merely smaller in an A4, and you can always resize it to the size you want using an A4. So at this panel here, you have your millimeter, inches, and all, just like in Photoshop. I prefer using your millimeter here in Illustrator. So we're just going to quickly rename this. We're going to create Fred. Yeah, let's rename it as Fred. So let's Fred coffee. So you have your artboard here. Your artboard simply means how many artboards you're going to work in. You know, we talked about artboards a little bit in Photoshop. So it's similar here. You have your portrait and your landscape mode here. So let's quickly just do a landscape. Then your advanced color, CMYK, and all of that. Now, the thing about Illustrator now, you see, is the color mode is a CMYK, yeah? And CMYK with the resolution of 300 ppi. Let me quickly open that so that you see. You have your RGB color mode and your CMYK color mode. In default, Adobe Illustrator is always wanting to be in, so it's always in CMYK mode, which is your cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. The reason why it's in CMYK mode is because when you are printing out, because most of the things you design uh using your Adobe Illustrator, you mainly print them out. Yes, the banners you see, the cards and all that, you print them out. So when you want to print, you use CMYK colors, as these are the colors your printers understand, so as to create an accurate color printing. I don't know if you guys have experienced this. When your RGB is mainly for your digital work and all that, for your computers, your phone, because those are the codes which your laptops and your phone screens understand. Your red, green, blue colors. So I don't know if you have actually done this before. You have a picture in RGB format. Maybe you took a picture with your phone and all. Because when you take a picture with your phone, it's in RGB format, and you try printing out that picture. When you print out that picture, when you compare the printed picture and the picture from your phone, the colors in the printed picture seems to be washed out. Please, I don't know if you guys can confirm that. Are you guys following? It's a bit washed out. So the reason why it's a bit washed out because the printer doesn't fully understand RGB colors. Yeah, thank you, Miss Ore. The printer doesn't fully understand RGB colors. Hence, it needs CMYK colors. That's why if you check, if I don't know if you have ever opened the printer or check the color ink inside, it's mainly cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. You find there, hence the CMYK. So those colors now will help to print your picture exactly as it was in the digital format when your document is saved in CMYK. So hence uh, the reason for using CMYK colors here. You can also find the CMYK color mode in your Photoshop. So you can create, when you want to create something to print out using Photoshop, create maybe for your photo manipulation, you want to print it out, please create it in CMYK colors. Or if you want to create it for your digital view, please create it in RGB colors. So we're going to leave it the same YK now because this is a coffee shop. We want to print out this coffee logo sometime, maybe on the cup or on the board or something. So we want to print that. So we're going to leave it in CMYK colors. So resolution of 300 ppi. So we're going to just hit everything seems okay here. We're going to hit create. So you're going to wait for it to create the new file. Okay, now there you have it. Now this is the interface of the Illustrator. You see, similar to Photoshop, but there are just some changes. There are lots of new tools around here, so which helps you to make your um your work simple. And one of my favorites is the shape builder tool. So I'll show you guys how the shape builder tool is being used, because as a designer you need to know how to use Adobe Illustrator. It helps you to make things simple when designing. So here you have your artboard here, and okay, you have your various properties and all. Yeah, so first thing we do, just to make sure the interface is the same as everybody. So we're going to go to Windows, like in Photoshop, Workspace, like in Photoshop, and leave it on Essential Classic. You find this Essential Classic in the 2020 version of Illustrator, but if you have any older version of Adobe Illustrator, it's mainly just Essential. So it's similar, it's the same thing, Essential Classic and Essential. But if you have a 2020 version of Illustrator, just simply use Essential Classic. So now we have this, and over here we have our toolbar using the small arrow to expand. You have the properties and the color libraries here. If I was connected to the internet uh, right now, I stopped my Illustrator for connecting to the internet because it's going to take lots of my data. So you'd have seen lots of things around that each part of the library with the Adobe Creative Cloud and all showing there. So now expanding it, you have your various tools here, your gradient, color, paragraph, all that. You have that here. You just simply close this to create this good uh, workspace, your work area. So on the toolbar, you have your move to, which is your normal V as in your Photoshop. Now you have a new one, a direct selection tool here. Direct selection tool, we're going to make use of it to select some specific points here. You have your magic wand, your lasso tool, your pen tool. The pen tool is the favorite here. The pen tool is one of the best things about Illustrator. If you are good in using your pen tool with Illustrator, you can do anything you think of. So you have your curvature pen tool, your text, your line tool, rectangle. The new ones here, you have your shape builder, your weight tool, mesh tool, your eyedropper tool, as all of that. The symbol sprayer tool. So remember, each of in within each of these two, you have various tool here. Okay, you have this thing here, except this one, and your move tool, and your lasso tool. That's why you don't have any other base tool. So you can just we can familiarize ourselves with that. So for now, I'm going to show you. Let's just click open. I made a little bit of creation on Fred. I'm just going to open that up so you can see how this. So now we have these here. I have two parts of my Fred listing here. Over here, I had my inspiration because since I just had to use the name Fred, so I have my inspiration here. So Fred is the name I'm going to be using for my coffee shop, Fred, and this is what I came up with here. Your the simple word mark and just one simple one here, which you can see it helps to represent the Fred logo. So I hope you guys are following. Please, did you guys understand to that part? Okay. So now we're going to create this thread coffee. I'm going to show you how this was created. So let me just quickly copy this, and we can copy this now. Now you see these are my inspirations which I had for this logo. I had to think about various things I can probably use to do. So let me quickly zoom in here so that I can show you something. So the first thing I did when I thought about thread, I'm like, oh, thread. Let me zoom in so that it's more visible if
Mm-hmm.
you're using your mobile phone. The first thing I did was thread. I want to use thread to design now. How will I do? So what I did was that I thought of the name thread. I want to look for what's the meaning of thread. Thread means peaceful ruler, and when you come to okay, peaceful ruler, bring the name peace and a ruler. For the peace, you have the symbols that represent peace. You have those, ocean, mountain, peace sign, like your peace out of your hand, peace sign. And for the ruler, you have the crown, crown castle, your sword. Yeah, these represent ruler. So that hence that was why I was starting this first. I was like, oh, using my peace sign with the crown, peace sign with the crown. Oh, I had some crown inspiration. Let me use the crown for this. But at the end of the day, I came up with something like this. I came up with so I came up with this at the end of the day.
People, they are just spying. I don't like came up with it. What you
Hello?
should have done is done another one.
Sorry, are you guys following? Okay. So now having this now, so we're going to create this and see how it was created. So copy. I'm going to copy this now using Control C. Using our move to here, just copy this, Control C, and let's go back to the original file we created here. So using our shortcut to or simply go to File and Edit, Paste, Control V. So you paste. So we're going to create this now. So let's just simply drop this outside for now and see how this goes. So first thing first we had here, we created the crown. So to create the crown, we select our rectangle tool here, just as we did in Photoshop, our rectangle tool. Let me zoom in a bit and see. Oh, okay. So now we create our rectangle tool, draw your rectangle, and you can see when you are selected, it's distorted, it warps. So holding your shift key here will actually help you to increase and reduce the size of your to get that equal size of your rectangle here. So we're just going to create this here. All right, let's do that again. We'll create this here. So you release your mouse before releasing your shift. If not, it will distort. So now, this you see there after when you draw this, there are little. Go back to our move to. You see there are little blue symbols here. These are anchor points where you can make any changes to your shape. These are various anchor points you can make changes to your shape. So the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to because we are trying to draw this crown here, which we kept here. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to use our direct selection pen here. This is a direct selection. To remember, I said we're going to make use of this. With your direct selection tool, you can, when you double click on any point here, you can remove any point to any shape you want. That's the work of your direct selection tool. You can make any modification shape you want, anything you want at all. Just quickly going to undo that. So we're going to use our pen tool because we want to create this anchor point here. So we use our pen tool. When you left click on your pen tool, use your add anchor point pen tool here. You get to the center, you can see it automatically tells you that's the center point of your design. You click on it, and there you have a new anchor here, just like the way you have on the edge. You use your direct selection pen tool here, click on the anchor, and you move. So let's just quickly reduce this a bit. Just want that little bit of shape here. So move this. Okay, so that seems a little bit decent. So let's see if we can. Here. So the next thing you do now, we're going to use our ellipse to draw little circles within the spot here. So go to our shape tool here and right click and ellipse tool. Holding down shift, we draw this and we have this circle here. Back to our move tool, have that there. So you can duplicate this in two ways, as you do in Photoshop, using alternate, with your move tool selected, selecting this, alternate, drag, and you have a duplicate of that, or you simply select this, edit, copy, or use Ctrl C, then edit, copy, paste, or use Ctrl V. So you have a duplicate of that. So we're going to create two duplicates like this to represent this round circles here. Just say the same. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to create a triangle because we had a triangle in here. B2B. I'm going to delete this so I can simply quickly duplicate this. So I hope you guys are following. Okay. So now we're going to draw a shape, rectangle, and drawing a rectangle, you go to your shape tool and you click on the polygonal tool. So when the thing about the polygonal tool is that when you draw, when you hold, you say it has multiple shapes. So using your direction key, you click up, down. Down reduces the number of shapes and up increases the number of sides it has. So we want 3 sides, and we're just going to click down to 3, and there we have our triangle. Back to move. So we're going to rotate this a bit as we do in Photoshop. Resizing now. In Photoshop, remember, you can resize this without holding your shift key, but this is going to distort. So when it comes to Illustrator, you hold down your shift key when you are resizing, not to distort the shape of not to distort the shape of your of what you're resizing. So we're going to arrange this a bit. So now we have that there. So we want to copy this. So we're going to quickly copy this right now. So as we did earlier, Control C, copy, Control V, paste. So you have this, but we want to reflect it back to this, like having the opposite of this shape here. You simply right click, transform, reflect. Vertical, okay. You can preview to see how it will look. Okay, that's okay. Then you draw this here. Make sure it aligns with the other rectangle there. Okay. That seems okay. So now we're going to use our shape builder to create the shape. Here, you can see it's already having the similar shape of the crown. So we click on our shape builder tool here. So we're going to use our shape builder to delete some of these anchor points that you have here. So select your whole shape. You select that by simply just going to your move tool, you drag across the whole of the shape. Then you select your shape builder tool. And you see, when I place my shape builder tool within the shape, it has this change here. So click on this and drag to build that shape there. Click, you drag, and it makes that one particular shape there. You go back to your move tool, click on the outside to deselect. So now we can delete this, and you have that crown kind of shape there. So one thing you can do, we have to, because when you click on this now, you see there are some anchor points here because it's not giving this pointed thing here. So use our pen tool, back, and delete anchor point. So click on this anchor point here, it's gone, and the next anchor point there is gone. Back to our move tool. So we have the shape of the crown here. So you can see this now because it's not having this so let me just quickly do something here. So I want to do something now. Because I have this part a bit too long, I can actually cut this shape with this shape, just the way we had our selections in Photoshop. So I can simply do this to have this intersect here. Okay, that seems good. Okay, then this what we call the pathfinder tool here, Photoshop, Illustrator. The pathfinder tool helps you to remove or add, or just like in the selection for to build shapes, just like the selection we had for Photoshop. So now we hold this, select this, holding shift, select this, and minus. So now you see we just use the other shape to cut this other part here. So that's how the part for those that's one of the tools for Illustrator which you can use. So we're going to quickly color this right now, and then you can see how it looks. So to color this, use your eyedropper tool here for a faster coloring, or you simply select this and you have your color drop bar here. But I want to pick the same color like the way we had our eyedropper tool. So we're just going to do this, select this eyedropper, select the color. I hope you guys are following. Okay. There we have it. So now we're going to create these little margins underneath of this page using our line to draw the margins. You select this and we just go here and drag, holding shift. When you hold shift, it doesn't distort. So just have this margin. You see it has this symmetry with the crown. You click on this and drag. There you go. So we can use our move to, remember, click, Control C, copy, Control V, paste. Okay, so we're going to select this too and increase the stroke here so that they are much more visible. So let's leave that at 5. You can see that. Then we're going to do the same thing using our eyedropper 2 selected just to color them. Okay, now you can't see the stroke because the stroke option here is off, just like you have this as the main body and this as a stroke. So the stroke here is off. So what we have to do now, we switch to stroke here. You can just swap the colors and it goes straight to the strokes. So we can increase the size of the stroke now. We use 5. Let's make it 6. You select and there you go. There you have something similar as the crown. So if you try moving this now, you find you move them separately. Each of them move them separately. So you have to group them as one. So you copy, like you go across all of it to select them all, right click and group. Now I can move each and every one of them in any area I want. So let's just quickly drop this. So now we're going to make this thread. I'm going to create this right now, thread. So this is an example of, as I told you, that's an example of WordMark. So we're going to write this with a its own unique font. So we're going to type using our type 2 here, or shortcut T on your keyboard. So I'm going to type this REDS. So back to our move 2, then we can increase the holding shift, make it bigger. So I'm going to write the coffee now. Back to our move 2 and make this bigger. I hope you guys are following. Okay. So now we're going to select the font for this. Selecting the font for this now requires you text to select, then you highlight all of this using Control E as a shortcut. And okay, so let me just quickly check which fonts I used here. I use accompanying variable concepts. Okay. Back to our move to delete that. So I'm going to select this again. Control A and accompanying variable concepts. So I think we use condensed. Let's quickly check this. So I'll just know what I use. The condensed, extra condensed bold. Okay. Extra condensed bold. We're going to increase the space in between this. like we did our Photoshop. So we're going to use 800. Okay, use 100, and there we have that. So the cool thing about Illustrator is that if it's in Photoshop, you want to make this coffee similar to this, you have to start doing all those processes again. So, but we can simply just, okay, before we do that, let's just change the color. Let me change the color. Select thing about Fred. Copies that seems similarly and start everything about it. So you can just now resize this here. Resize this here. Okay, now we can group them together, highlighting it and right click. Now we have them grouped together. Now we're going to resize, bring this in here, and let me zoom in so that we can just arrange this. Resize this. Rotate this a bit. See, okay, seems okay. You can see it's behind this part here. So we're just going to bring this. Let's select that part there. Select our crown. Right click on it. Arrange. Bring forward. So it comes in front of Fred there. So let's quickly. I think those lines are a bit thick. Let's just make an adjustment. Ungroup this for a moment. Let's just move this on to make a little change here. Sorry, I'm zooming all over the place because I'm not using my mouse here. I'm just gonna quickly do this because I want those parts to show the lines, the margins. So I'm just going to reduce their stroke a bit. Let's say 3. 3 is fine. So I'm going to reduce this. Okay, that seems fine. So we're going to group them, bring them here, size, and click on that, arrange, bring forward. We can move them there. So that's it. Now we have something similar to that there. We can just holding shift, so we have that filling up background. So that's it. That's how we create a simple Fred's coffee shop logo. Yeah. So now, how did we create this one here? Because instead of writing out your letters and drawing all of these again, which you might make some little bit of errors, so you can simply just do this. Let's ungroup this for a moment. Click on the thread, type, no, object, expand, because we want to make each and every one of these letters an individual shape of their own. So now, we then mean expand, you can see, we ungroup them, and now you see each of these is an individual object of its own. So we can simply just group these together and make a duplicate of it. So we can do that, then okay. Then we can now group back our previous work. So you have this and group this. And there you have it. So that's how you can simply make this one out of this. So this can stand as the simple logo which the company represents, and why this would gives you the details about each and every one of this. So now when you're done, you save just like in Photoshop. You go to File, Save, Fred's Coffee. Now Photoshop saves as PSD file, but an Illustrator can save as an AI file. So you have an EPS file. Illustrator also saves as an EPS file. So an EPS file is a bit of an older version in which Illustrator can save files for re-editing, just in case you want to make modifications to your logo. So if you have an EPS file, it's readable. If you have an Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator file, it's also readable by the Illustrator. So we're going to save as an EPS file here, and click on Save. So then that's safe. So you have this little dialog box here. Then okay. So we have saved our work here. So now we want to save this because you obviously want to preview it on your phone or anything. So just like in Photoshop, go to Save, Save As. Now you click. Oh, sorry, not Face Save As. You go to File. Oh, well, I was forgetting this. Export, because now, unlike in Photoshop where you go to Save As and you click your JPEG or any format or PNG which you want, but in Illustrator you go to Export, Export As here. Then you have the option of your JPEG, PNG, even as PSD. You can save as a Photoshop format, SVG, like one we use for the icons, which you downloaded from flat icons and other. So we're going to save as our JPEG here. Now, there's something important you have to know here. You see this little use artboard here, this symbol here, you have to tick that. When you tick this, it helps you to save the JPEG, save just the objects that are within the artboard. because you have all of these outside the artboard. So when you have that tick, it saves just what's within the artboard. If I didn't take that now, it's going to save everything outside like that. So you have this large gray and white thing all around you as a JPEG. So click on artboard, then export because our logo is already there. So remember the color mode which you are doing. You can also change the CMYK because we want to print maximum of 10, resolution of 10. So now when you go to your file, you will see where you have your JPEG work saved there. So that's pretty much just it. So that's how you can simply bring this stuff back, creating your own logo and all that. Then remember the aspect of presentation which I said, and this is how you can present your work first. You can make that and using mockups. This is an example of mockup. You can download it from FreePic. I give that site earlier in our previous lectures. So you can create this here. And now this gives you a visual representation of how our logo is going to be when you finally print it on a coffee cup or something. So this is how it's done. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's class, and I hope you guys have been enjoying the class so far. So that's how you can create your own logo using Illustrator. So this brings us to the end of our graphic design beginners course for this section. I hope you guys enjoyed the class. Oh, you're welcome, Miss Oraki. So we're just gonna quickly do a little follow-up. Okay, I told you guys how we're gonna use mockups, right? So now let me quickly show you how these mockups can be done before we round up this class. How that mockup you can place it on your cup of coffee, or the one I talked about where you place your logos on various walls. Yeah. So I'm just gonna quickly bring that up now. So just give me minutes. Let me get that for you. Please just a moment. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, can you see the screen? what you're seeing on the screen now, that is an example of the wall mockup I was telling you about. You must have seen these a lot in so many people's businesses. They are having this business and all, and they have so much details written on that wall mockup. So this mockup is simply just to visualize how your is. There are lots of mockups. This is just one of them to visualize how your work should look. And this works with Photoshop, not Illustrator. So it works with Photoshop. So now I'm just quickly going to double tap on this. Let's bring that Fred icon here and see how it would look on this wall. Just quickly do something here. So now you have that logo that was written on the wall here. You can see it here. So we're just gonna port it from Illustrator. Just gonna drag. You can see how the relationship works. I know you can see my Illustrator screen right now because I didn't present my entire screen. So I'm just gonna, just a moment, please. Okay, who's there? A moment. This time is a bit slow. I'm opening the Illustrator because working with Photoshop and Illustrator simultaneously is quite powerful. Okay, so I'm gonna drag this. I just dragged it from Illustrator, and I just dropped here in Photoshop. Okay, so we're just going to be using just the F here, and let's see how that would look. This symbolizes the, just quickly delete this out of it. So we have our vector file here. I'm going to resize this. So now you can see resizing this now. It doesn't pixelate. Can you see? It's still clear. If only this was created using Photoshop, when I zoom in and I try resizing like this, it's gonna pixelate. So that's the reason why you have to use Illustrator for these works. So when you're done, when you're satisfied with that, you just simply press Ctrl S and it saves your current tab, updating your previous mockup tab here. So when I go back, you simply go back and just wait for it to finish saving. Okay, now it's loading. Trying to update the mockup tab. Okay, now when we go back, and there you go. You see how it works? So now you can visualize these on your wall, like when you see, I want to create this spread and have this on my wall, and you see how it works. The mockup here works. So thank you guys. It has been a great experience, and I hope you guys enjoyed the course of this graphic design. I really enjoyed you guys, and I really appreciate you guys for being here and for taking the course. And your final assignments for this course before the presentation of your certificate, I will send you a link. I'll send a link to the group where you have your final assignment based on everything that we have done so far. And I would like you guys to work on it, and we submit on Thursday next week. So if you can submit before that time, you submit before that time. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.